Before we begin, listen carefully. Somewhere out there, a man is one decision away from changing his entire life, and he doesn't even know it yet. This is not just a story about luck. It's about pain, choice, and the kind of honesty that most people abandon when life gets hard. So if you believe that one moment can rewrite your destiny, hit that subscribe button now, because this story will stay with you long after it ends. Under the harsh glare of the afternoon sun, Ethan Cole stood in his dusty roadside workshop, surrounded by broken engines and fading hope. Sweat rolled down his face as his tired hands worked relentlessly, tightening bolts with mechanical precision. Every movement carried years of struggle. Every breath tasted like oil and disappointment. Customers rarely stopped, and when they did, they often left without respect. That day was no different. A man refused to pay after hours of labor, his words sharp and dismissive. Ethan argued, his voice shaking with frustration, but in the end, the man walked away, leaving silence behind. As the sun dipped low, Ethan sat alone in the fading light, staring into nothingness, questioning whether life would ever change or if he was destined to remain invisible forever. That night, the streets felt colder than usual. Ethan walked home under flickering streetlights, his footsteps echoing through the empty road. When he reached his small room, he emptied his pocket and counted the coins in his hand, each one a reminder of how far he was from survival, let alone success. He lay on his thin mattress, staring at the ceiling, trapped in a loop of exhaustion and quiet despair. Then, like a whisper from another world, he remembered his mother. Her voice was soft but firm, reminding him that integrity is something no hardship can take away. That memory lingered as he closed his eyes, holding on to it like the last piece of something pure in a life that felt broken. The morning came without mercy. With barely enough water, Ethan washed his face outside and returned to the same workshop, the same struggles, the same feeling of being unseen. Cars passed him by, people ignored him, and the world continued as if he didn't exist. Hunger eventually pushed him onto the busy street, his body weak but moving. That was when he saw it, a smartphone lying on the ground, glowing faintly as if calling his name. He paused, his heart beating faster as he bent down and picked it up. His reflection stared back at him from the screen. He looked around, but no one noticed. No one claimed it. In that moment, the world seemed to freeze, and a silent war began inside him. Ethan's grip tightened around the phone as thoughts raced through his mind. He imagined selling it, imagined food on his table, imagined relief from the endless cycle of struggle. The temptation was real, heavy, almost overwhelming. But then his mother's voice returned, clearer than ever, cutting through the noise of his desperation. He closed his eyes, breathing slowly, standing still in the chaos of the street. This was more than a choice. It was a test of who he truly was. After a long moment, he opened his eyes, his decision made. With shaking hands, he dialed a contact labeled Boss, his heart pounding as the call connected. The car arrived like something out of another world. Clean, polished, untouchable. Dust rose as it stopped in front of him, and when the man stepped out, everything about him spoke of power and control. Ethan stood there, worn clothes and all, holding the phone like it carried more weight than it should. When he handed it over, there was no speech, no explanation, just honesty. The man's reaction wasn't immediate. It was quiet, surprised. Then something shifted. Respect. They shook hands, and in that moment, two completely different worlds collided. Days later, Ethan found himself stepping into an office he never imagined entering. The air felt different. The silence felt different. When the envelope was placed in front of him, he didn't expect much. But inside was more than money. It was a chance. A real one. His hands trembled. His eyes widened. And when the keys followed, something inside him finally broke free. Change didn't happen overnight. But it started that day. Ethan learned. He studied. He failed quietly and improved loudly. He stayed late when no one asked him to. Read things he didn't understand until he did. And slowly became someone even he didn't recognize. His clothes changed. His posture changed. But more importantly, his mindset changed. He wasn't surviving anymore. He was building. Partnerships came. Opportunities followed. And one day, he stood in front of a building with his name on it. Not as a dream, but as reality. The same hands that once fixed broken engines were now shaping something bigger. The same eyes that once carried exhaustion now held vision. And when he drove his first car, it wasn't about the car. It was about the journey it represented. From nothing to something. From invisible to undeniable. Success didn't arrive with noise or celebration. It came quietly and chose to stand beside him. As Ethan gazed over the city that once overlooked him, there was no need for words. The mansion behind him, the cars in the driveway, the perfectly tailored suits. They were visible, yes, but they were never the true story. The real story lived in the silence of the past. It lived in the nights he went to bed hungry, in the moments when doubt sat heavily on his chest, in the crossroads where one wrong decision could have changed everything, but didn't. He remembered choosing persistence when quitting felt easier, choosing discipline when no one was watching, choosing hope when there was very little to hold on to. And now, standing here, he understood something deeply. Success wasn't what he had gained. It was who he had become. When Ethan returned to his old neighborhood, he didn't come back to impress anyone. He came back with purpose. The people didn't just see a wealthy man. They saw proof. Proof that decisions, even the smallest ones, can shape a life. He greeted familiar faces with warmth, not pride. He listened, he shared, and he gave. Not just money, but something far more lasting. He gave tools. He gave knowledge. He gave opportunity. He became the kind of help he once needed. And as the sun slowly set behind him, casting a gentle golden light across everything he had built, Ethan stood still. Not as someone who escaped hardship, but as someone who transformed it into purpose. If this story stayed with you, if it reminded you that even the smallest decision can change everything, then don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the next story you hear might be the one that changes your life.